Well, it's taken 8 straight episodes of binge watching on the WWE Network / a couple of torrents because the network kind of sucks in Canada. But we finally know who's going on to the finals of the Mae Young Classic next week in Las Vegas. Let's talk about episode 8. Everybody, it's your buddy, it's your pal Spaz, Phoenix, the YWC Reality Check here with your review of Episode 8, the semi-finals, of the Mae Young Classic. We had our final four: Mercedes Martinez, Shayna Baszler, Toni Storm, and KAIRI SANE. Started off with a pretty damn good video package of how all the superstars got here. We saw the final snapshot of the bracket as we went into this week. You got Mercedes Martinez, who beat Xia Li, Princessa Suhei, and Abby Laith to get to where she is right now. Shayna Baszler, who destroyed Zeta, Mia Yim, and Candice LeRae. Candice LeRae, a little kick in front of Johnny Gargano, which was good. Toni Storm, who beat Aisha Raymond, Lacey Evans, and one of my favorite matches in this tournament against Piper Niven. And KAIRI SANE, who had two of my other favorite matches in this tournament so far. One against Tessa Blanchard, one against Dakota Kai, and she also fought Bianca Belair, which is nice. Mercedes Martinez and Shayna Baszler. Going into this match, you know a couple of things. You know WWE's really trying to push this initiative with the Four Horsemen of the UFC. We saw the video package in the last episode. And then they played up this whole angle where Mercedes Martinez has been the mentor to Shayna Baszler. All things leading up to, the mentor beating the student, etc. But let's talk about it. These are the two, and I've said it before and I'll say it again, since Jazzy Gabbert was eliminated in the first round by Abby Laith, and so she was all done relatively quickly. It's not that hard to say that Mercedes Martinez and Shayna Baszler are the two scariest women in this tournament. They start off with a handshake, and the commentators are right on the spot to tell you that that's the first and only handshake that Shayna Baszler has accepted in this whole tournament. The rest of them, it's either been swatted away, turned her back, etc. Shayna tries a kick, Mercedes brushes it off. That sets the tone right there. Teacher, student, It's the line that Ric Flair used to use on Triple H. I taught you everything you know, but I didn't teach you everything that I know, which is good. Double leg takedown by Martinez, forearms in the corner chops, and more forearms by Mercedes. A single leg by Mercedes, more forearms and a boot. Mercedes rides a headlock and elbows to the neck. Front face lock by Martinez, and a series of strikes by Shayna. Up until this series of strikes by Shayna Baszler, it has been all Mercedes Martinez owning her protege. Then the tide turns. Corner high knee by Shayna and some rolling gut wrench suplexes. I think I mentioned it in one of the previous rounds. The rolling gut wrench suplexes that Shayna Baszler does are fucking amazing. Knee bar by Shayna, who eventually transitions it into an ankle lock. They trade forearm shots from their knees where it's just, let's beat the fuck out of each other's faces. This was, if there's any such thing as a Barbie doll match in women's wrestling, this was the exact opposite. They put the leather to each other, if I want to keep using cliches. Fisherman's Buster by Martinez in 3 side suplexes, a boot by Martinez, but, and here's the thing with Shayna Baszler, she's been sort of using that, the sleeper and the body scissors sort of out of nowhere, where she caught one of her opponents right out of midair, where she turned Miss LeRae's Wild Ride into that submission move out of midair. In this match, she didn't catch them out of midair. She loaded up a Falcon Arrow and transitioned it into that submission move for the win. Shayna Baszler gets the win. Mercedes and Baszler, have that cool, shot in the arm, I don't want to say passing of the torch because we don't know either of them that well, but definitely that teacher-student nod of appreciation, nod of approval type moment. And it's capped off by Triple H, Stephanie McMahon, and Sarah Del Rey from the Performance Center coming out, bringing them flowers, arms up, this woman's going to the finals, a lot of photo ops, the whole bit. It's good. It's really cool to, Triple H is obviously the at the forefront of NXT and a lot of the developmental stuff in the Performance Center and everything that happens at Full Sail and all that. Very, very cool to see Stephanie McMahon and Sarah Del Rey there as well, or Sarah Amato, I think is her real name. I'm really kind of bummed that I haven't seen Sarah Del Rey in the ring, because if she has anything to do with the way the women are being treated in NXT, I wish I had been following her when she was an in-ring talent. That's just me. But then we come to the match. And as I said, Toni Storm versus Dakota Kai was great. Toni Storm versus Piper Niven was great. Kairi Sane versus Tessa Blanchard was great. Kairi Sane versus Dakota Kai was great. Those are my 4 favorite matches up until this point in the tournament. Those are the, you know, Gargano Ciampa, Gargano Perkins of this tournament, you know, and you know, the please sign Cedric match. Sorry guys, sinuses, itchy nose, it is what it is. But I really wish, and not to say what we're going to get in Las Vegas is going to be bad, don't get me wrong, but I really wish this match was the final. I really do. And yes, I'm incredibly biased, and yes, I picked my favorites early. It is what it is. Toni Storm versus Kairi Sane, and they go over once again, even though Toni Storm is from Australia, she spent a lot of her time and developed a lot of her style in Japan. So she does have somewhat of an understanding of Kairi Sane's style, and it all starts off with the two-handed handshake, and very respectful, very, like, you know, they bow to each, not, they don't bow, but they give each other sort of like a mini, like a nod, you know, a nod that could be perceived as sort of a mini bow as they start the match. Collar and elbow tie up, and Toni works the arm. Kairi reverses. Front face lock and a gator roll by Storm. A key lock by Sane, and she turns it into a side headlock. Storm easily bridges out of the side headlock, which makes me smile. Collar and elbow tie up once again. Wrist lock by Storm, reversed by Sane. Shoulder by Sane, and a drop kick and a face plant by Storm. Uppercut by Storm, forearms by Sane. Storm tosses Sane out of the ring, but then she tries to follow up with a move on the apron, and Sane trips her on the apron. She doesn't fall to her hip or fall to her side. She falls right along the flat of her shoulder blades coming out of the ring. Top rope cross body by Kairi Sane after that fall on the apron is a hell of a way to follow up. Boston Crab by Sane once they get back in the ring, and a German suplex by Storm, and she gets some height on the German suplex. It's ridiculous. The hip attacks by Storm, the spear by Sane, and somebody on Twitter actually gave me shit because I like the proper hip attacks from somebody like a Toni Storm or an Asuka in NXT, but yet I make fun of Naomi's, like, flying crotch of death. You're an idiot. That's all I'm gonna say. You don't deserve any more attention than that. Hip attack by Storm, followed by a spear by Sane. You know, you want to hit me? I'll hit you back. They trade some elbow shots. A boot by Storm, double chop by Sane, and a stalling suplex by Storm. A bridging armbar by Storm. She locks in this cross arm breaker, but then she bridges over to give it the extra effect, so it's almost a cross arm breaker over the shoulder while she's lying on her opponent. And it looks, just because of the size difference, just because Kairi Sane is so small and so able to play that underdog character, and Toni Storm presents herself as being so strong, it looks like she's about to pull her arm right out of the socket. And not to be outdone, she follows that up with a double leg drop off the top on Sane, who you presume is already dead. Back fist by Sane, modified, sorry, I can speak, I swear. Back fist by Sane, who locks Toni Storm, with the obviously taller body, the taller legs, into a modified sharpshooter. It's not completely locked in, but she just sort of wrenches back on it. She elbows her in the back because she can't get up, and then she hits what I've been calling the insane elbow off the top rope for the win. So she elbows her in the back just so that she stays down long enough to get to the turnbuckle and top rope elbow her in the back. I've been calling it the insane elbow because her last name being Sane and my love of cliches just leads us to that point. I really think, because she's got the whole, like, nautical pirate theme, because of the way she lands that top rope elbow, I really think they should think about calling it the harpoon, just because it looks like such a fucking spear. There's a lot of hugs, a lot of show of respect, and you can hear Toni Storm off camera talking to her in Japanese. Whatever they said is between the two of them. Very, very respectful. Toni Storm, if she doesn't have a contract already, WWE, what the fuck are you doing? I'm gonna say that. Of anybody in this tournament, because Kairi Sane is going on to face Shayna Baszler in the finals in Las Vegas after SmackDown in front of not the Full Sail crowd, because WWE is kind of retarded. So those two are pretty safe. If you have not given Dakota Kai, Piper Niven, and Toni Storm contracts for, at the very least, NXT, then you're fucking retarded. That's all there is to say there. Triple H, Steph, Sarah Amato come out with the flowers, all that once again. Shayna Baszler comes back out. They pose off in front of this. I should say, Shayna Baszler has been shown, they've been doing like split screen and showing Shayna Baszler watching this last match, because you know that her being this big powerhouse, the, you know, the quote-unquote real fighter from UFC, much bigger than Kairi Sane, they're going to play her up as the big dominant force and Kairi Sane is the underdog. I really don't care who wins next Tuesday, and I don't mean that in a bad way. Kairi Sane, if you want to do the underdog thing, underdog, you know, achieves overall and gets the win against impossible odds and all that sort of thing, play up the Daniel Bryan type story, I'd be totally cool with that. But even if you have Shayna Baszler go in next Tuesday and squash her, that in itself, think back to the Daniel Bryan comparison, what was the biggest turning point in Daniel Bryan's popularity? When he got squashed by Sheamus at WrestleMania in 19 seconds or whatever the hell it was. And everybody, the few people that weren't already behind Daniel Bryan were behind him. So Kairi Sane comes out of this either way looking like gold, and she will be the golden child of NXT going for, if that's where she ends up. Basically, she'll be the golden child of whatever brand she ends up on, for real. But with Asuka moving up, I gotta believe they're gonna put Kairi Sane in NXT regardless. But if they want to swerve us, because Kairi Sane's the indie darling, and sometimes WWE does the opposite just because, if they want to have Shayna Baszler win this, to push forward the story between the WWE Women's Division and the Four Horsewomen of the UFC, put a little bit of momentum behind that and make that the springboard for that story, I have no problem with that, because then you've got incredible sympathy for this already incredible babyface that will have a career after this tournament. There is no loss in this. The only thing that I'm going to say in this is that I don't know what the finale is going to look like, because it's not in Full Sail. It's going to be, like I say, it's going to be filmed in Las Vegas right after SmackDown, so I really hope the crowd sticks around. And I know we've seen for months and months and months, you know, there's SmackDown, and then you see like shards of people leaving before 205 Live even starts. I really hope they're not dicks in Las Vegas, but also, what is this show going to be? Is it just going to be, hey, hang around after SmackDown, we've got one match? Because I think back to the CWC was the quarterfinals and then a little exhibition match in the middle with a couple of the four guys thrown into a tag team match, and then the final. They could have done that. They could have made this into an episode, even if they wanted to do it live, which I don't really agree with. They could have had these two matches and the final on one show. I don't know why they didn't do that. If this is just going to be, hey, SmackDown's over, flip over to the WWE Network because we're going to get this match out of the way, that's going to be kind of shit. I gotta kind of hope that they'll throw a tag team match together or have a couple exhibition matches between these women and the women of NXT, or these women and the women of WWE, just to get more of them some exposure. I really hope that they find something else to fill this out so that it's just not, hey, here, have another random match, because that'll be shit. This has been a lot of fun. I hope you guys have enjoyed this. I've plowed through 8 episodes in about 10 days, and as I said in the last video, it has been kind of exhausting to talk to you guys about 4 times more than I would in a normal week, but I've also enjoyed it a whole bunch. I've been looking forward to this ever since they were whispering rumors about a women's tournament on the network. Do I think they've done it as good as the CWC? Not quite. It has fallen off. If nothing else, the CWC had the benefit of being the first tournament like this that WWE did. I mean, it wasn't exactly King of the Ring. It was a very special thing on its own, And in that regard, nothing's ever going to compete to it, because nothing's as good as the first. But I will say, this is a fuckload better than the UK tournament that took place over 2 days and looked like it was thrown together. Can't wait to see what they do next Tuesday. Really don't know what else to say. And yeah, we win either way. Shayna Baszler or Kairi Sane. I'm actually more interested to see who that we've already seen eliminated has been signed to the main roster. I don't know if that's just me. But you guys can let me know, as you always do. I've been Spaz, your YWC Reality Check. Subscribe up there, talk down there, start a conversation. Keep all these conversations going. Don't be a stranger. I'll talk to each and every last one of you later. But for right now, I am tagging out. Bye, guys.
Freak like me, don't freak like me.